Hello YouTube and welcome to the Awesome Blackness channel, or ABC for short. My name is Mighty, and on this platform, I'm going to explore the awesomeness of our black people. That's right, whether you're big or small, celebrity or civilian, anywhere in the world, if you're awesome, you're featured here. And it's time to drop another nugget.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so here's a little good news, bad news. Bad news first. The reason why there's been a delay in this video is that, frankly, I had hit a wall. I mean, it's not as if I don't have more than enough awesome blackness for many videos to come. In fact, there was someone I was working on and I was really excited about, but it just didn't feel like it was coming together. So I suppose I'll save it for later on down the road. Thus, the slowdown in momentum, in conjunction with the demands of my new position, left me little time to even work on a script that evidently wasn't coming together. Oh yeah, speaking of new positions, the good news, I got a promotion. Yeah, I suppose since YouTube hasn't become my sole bread and butter, I might as well crush it in the real world. And that I did. Now I can afford to up my recording and editing game. Oh yeah, and this happened too. Susan sent me a customized balsa wood play button as a result. Anyway, the fact that you are watching this means that it's obviously coming back together. And this substitute seems to be appropriate for the series that I stated I would engage in for a little while. You know, it's funny because I'm jumping on a bandwagon that has since left the station, but I've always either been before or way behind the trend, proving that if I was really a clickbaiting algorithm chaser, I'm YouTubing it all wrong, because the subject of this video is part of the notorious The Last of Us series. Isaac Dixon, who is one of the antagonists for The Last of Us Part 2, leader of the Washington Liberation Front, in Abby's story in the chapters Seattle Day 1 and Seattle Day 3. Little is known about his early life, other than the fact that he came to live in Seattle at some point, one of the countless enraged and disillusioned by the banishments, food shortages, and executions conducted during Fedra's control over the quarantine zones deep into the decimating pandemic. Ultimately, he became one of the first members of the WLF, nicknamed the Wolves, a resistance group not unlike the Fireflies, seemingly picking up where they left off. Initially, Isaac served under the leaders Emma and Jason Patterson until they, along with most of the other top WLF officials, were eliminated by the military, leaving him as one of the last remaining leaders of the rebellion. This led to him being voted the commander of the rebels, and under his leadership, the WLF grew more successful in their efforts. An ever-increasing number joined, including Fedra defectors and what little Fireflies remained, as noted later. As his forces grew, so did Isaac's ruthlessness. He organized attacks at checkpoints, hit convoys, and sacrificed countless people just to get a lead over Fedra. Consequently, the commanding officer of the Seattle QZ decided to pull out of Seattle, concluding that it was hopeless to fight against the Wolves. The attack led to the Wolves massacring the commander and the bulk of his remaining staff, leaving Isaac and the Wolves in primary control of the QZ. However, the Wolves quickly realized the problems that the military had been dealing with, as they were now in charge of thousands of survivors across Seattle. Isaac ordered the mass transportation of Seattle's population to the CenturyLink Field Stadium in order to contain everyone. Those who tried to resist were either forced to leave or shot, leading many to conclude that the Wolves were no better than Fedra. However, this move ultimately proved to be beneficial to the survivors of Seattle. In the coming years, Isaac helped transform the CenturyLink Field Stadium into a safe haven and community for the rebels and civilians, with resources like solar panels and wind turbines installed to provide power and a farm complete with livestock to feed the citizens. Isaac, though, remained extremely ruthless and uncompromising, showing aggression to most outsiders and their neighbors, the Seraphites, referred to by the pejorative Scars, who the Wolves considered a death cult. As violence between the two factions grew, Isaac led the WLF in a new war against the Seraphites, with atrocities committed by both sides. This bitter feud eventually reached a breaking point, and the leaders of both sides agreed to a ceasefire, allowing for a tenuous coexistence. However, some Seraphite teenagers attacked a WLF patrol and were gunned down, effectively breaking the treaty. Frequent and brutal skirmishes resulted in countless wolves dead. Isaac turned a hotel into a military barracks and an interrogation facility, torturing and killing countless prisoners for information. During this new war, Isaac accepted into the WLF former Fireflies Abby Anderson, Manny Alvarez, Owen Moore, Nora Harris, Mel, Jordan, Nick, and Leah. Isaac took a particular liking to Abby and Manny, putting them in charge of one of his companies. Abby especially became Isaac's best soldier. In the winter of 2038, Isaac allowed Abby to take her group, dubbed the Salt Lake Crew, to Jackson, Wyoming, to track down Joel Miller, who had murdered Abby's father, Jerry Anderson. A few weeks after the group returned, Isaac found a WLF soldier, Danny, collapsed at a gate. He stayed with the man while he died. Learning Abby's friend Owen shot him to protect a scarred soldier, Isaac told Nora about the incident, telling her to keep it a secret for Owen's safety. Later that day, he called a meeting with Manny and Abby at his apartment in their forward operating base. There, he revealed that he believed the frequent skirmishes with the Scars would ultimately lead to the Wolves losing the war in the long run, and decided that the total annihilation of their enemies was the only way to bring true peace to Seattle. He began mobilizing the Wolves for one final assault against the Seraphites, this time taking the fight to their home on an island a short boat ride away from Seattle's coast. He asked Manny and Abby to lead an army in 3 days' time. However, Abby refused unless Isaac allowed her to bring Owen back to the WLF, as he had ran away after killing Danny. Isaac refused, angered that Abby would think Danny would have spent his dying moments to lie to him. Not giving in, Abby fled the WLF with Manny's help to find Owen. Once he found out, Isaac interrogated all of Abby's friends, being especially harsh on Mel. 2 days later, Isaac decided to put Manny in command of the army instead, and sent him to secure the boats at the marina with his platoon. However, Tommy Miller was there, searching for Abby, and killed Manny and his platoon. That night, Isaac launched the invasion himself. The assault was initially successful, the army securing the beachhead, and Isaac's company pushed deep into the island's interior. There, he stumbled upon Abby, protecting a scarred soldier, Lev. Confused by her actions, he decided to spare her if she rejoined the WLF and helped him with the invasion. Abby refused, leading Isaac to threaten to shoot Abby. Undeterred, she refused to move. As Isaac moved to fire, Lev's sister Yara shot him through the back, enabling Abby and Lev to escape. A radio broadcast that Abby and Lev later listened to revealed that Isaac died from the gunshot wound, with his army ultimately retreating from the island, the invasion having failed. Personality-wise, Isaac displays a calm but intimidating personality to those around him, especially his soldiers. He is also extremely xenophobic to both Seraphites and trespassers. Isaac takes loyalty from his own people seriously and reacts harshly should that trust be betrayed. He also has a twisted sense of justice, as he allowed Abby and the former Fireflies to lead to seek revenge on Joel, and wanting to exterminate the entire Scar population to prevent them from ever attacking again. Isaac was not above killing children, like when he commands Abby to get away from Lev so he can shoot them. You'd think the next part of this video would be hard to articulate, but it's not, because what makes him awesome is apparent, and one of the most aptest observations ever. Isaac is a complex individual, much like many of the characters in this game. You know, in my last video, I was able to make the distinction between the pro and antagonist of Joel and Marlene, whereas Isaac, not so much. I mean, sure, he's a villain indeed, but it appears to be shaded a bit, almost as if he's a malevolent altruist. If I were to place him on the chart of the 9 alignments, I see him as lawfully evil. I believe he started out with the best intentions, with helping to usurp a government he believed to be ruthless and not in the best interest of the people. But somehow, not only did he get lost along the way, but became an even worse version of the thing he sought to destroy. To make matters even more interesting, all of this rich depth of character was conveyed in just under 10 minutes of screen time on a 25-hour game, in great part due to the mocap and voice work of veteran actor Jeffrey Wright, who will get a proper video of his own in due time, so stay tuned. Okay, so thanks for watching, and a huge credit to The Last of Us Wiki on fandom.com, from which I cited for this video, as I did the last. Also, I'd like to thank the 1,000 of you who decided to make this channel part of your lineup. It has been a pleasure and honor to create something that people would be interested in, and the goal will not change come 10,000 or 100,000 subs. Let's see if we can get to those benchmarks, which can only be accomplished through your help of spreading the word. I'll do my part by continuing to present awesome Blackness. So if you like what you've seen here, be sure to like and share. Get more people to like, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you know when I drop another nugget. And until then, stay awesome.